Dragonflies are a close cousin to damselflies. Same insect order, Odonata, different suborder, Anisoptera. Dragonflies are probably one of the longest lived food sources you'll find in lakes and ponds. In our aquarium here today, we've got the two common species of dragonflies you find in BC fishing lakes. The darners, which are the longer, more slender insects in the tank here, and then we have their cousin, the Lilibulidae, or mud dwellers, which are short, compact, squat, and have got lots of body hairs on them. Both will live in the same lake. Dragonflies, like damselflies, have an incomplete metamorphosis: egg, larva or nymph, and then the adult stage. Dragonfly nymphs will live for up to 5 years in that nymphal stage before emerging into the adult, which everybody knows what an adult dragonfly looks like an airplane, wings held outstretched and flying around all summer long. So dragonflies live in amongst the vegetation, rocks, woody debris that accumulates on the shoal, the shallow shoal areas of the lakes towards the edge of the drop-off. So to find them, you have to turn over rocks or logs or sort through vegetation to find them, because they're hiding. They're very secretive. They don't often come out and swim around. They're both predators, and they're both carnivores. So they like to eat freshwater shrimp or scuds, damselfly nymphs, mayfly nymphs. So they're well hidden in amongst the bottom substrate. But when they're fully matured, after being a nymph for 4 to 5 years, the fully developed dragonfly nymph will crawl or swim along the bottom of the lake and crawl out of the lake right onto the shoreline, and then climb up. The nymphs will climb up vegetation, riparian vegetation, or vegetation is just around the edges of the lake. The shuck will dry out, a split forms on the back of its thorax, and the adult stage of the dragonfly will emerge from that old nymphal shuck. That adult dragonfly will take several hours for its body to become rigid and for fluids to fill the veins in the wings so that they're stiff enough so that they can fly away. Adult dragonflies live the entire summer and fall months feeding on maize, adult maize, mosquitoes, flies, anything that's got meat in it, because they're carnivores. These two species of dragonflies can be represented by very articulately tied flies. The key to fishing these flies, though, is on the bottom of the lake. And both these dragonflies molt numerous times during the year and throughout the years that they're spent as a nymph. So they'll often change, their colors will often change from a darker shade to a lighter shade when they're freshly molted. Again, living in that, hiding in that benthic areas in the vegetation or under rocks or debris. You rarely see a dragonfly nymph free swimming in the water column. They do swim they have a jet propulsion-like system where they vent water through the tip of their abdomen, so they shoot forward through the water, so they can swim fairly quickly, but they don't because they're very vulnerable to predation. Because they're such long-lived insects, they're an incredible, important food source year-round in all our trout lakes. Dragonflies are another important trout food source. They're important because they live for up to 5 years in the nymphal stage. Both the darners and the mud dwellers, the Lilibulidae, are common in both lakes that we find in British Columbia. And so here we have a dragonfly nymph. They're living and hiding amongst the vegetation, debris, or under rocks and logs on the shoal and drop-off areas of the lake. So we want to fish our flies close to the bottom of the lake. That means imparting or using full sinking lines, type 3 all the way to type 7 full sinking lines. So from 3 inches per second sink rate to 7 inches per second sink rate. This deer hair pattern here is tied out of deer hair, spun deer hair, so it actually floats off the bottom. So I'm fishing it on about a 7-foot leader, and I'm going to cast it out. And I want that fly to slowly sink to the bottom. So I'm just gonna get it out. So the fly is gonna sink. The fly line is sinking. The fly is slowly gonna sink. But because it's tied out of deer hair, it's gonna just float off the bottom of the lake. So it's kind of acts as a natural weed-free fly pattern. So once I've waited enough time for that line to get to the bottom, I'm just gonna do a fairly steady, but not fast strip retrieve up to about 7-8 inches in length. But I'm not ripping it. I'm not stripping fast. It's just constant. Like that. Okay. Okay. And remember, we could be doing this in 10 feet of water, 5 feet of water, or we could be doing in 25, even 30 feet of water. They could be down that deep in a real clear lake because there's photosynthesis down that deep. So again, it's throwing it out as far as you can, waiting the amount of time. You need to count to say 30 seconds or 50 seconds, 60 seconds to know where your fly is in relation to the bottom. So if you know the depth you're in, you know that your fly line is sinking at a certain number of inches per second, you can calculate how many seconds it's going to take for your fly line to get to the bottom. You wait that amount of time and then start that nice strip retrieve. The most intense dragonfly emergencies occur in summer months, July, August, but because they live for up to 5 years in that nymphal stage, you can fish them year-round, all times of the year. So it's a great pattern to have, and you can get very creative tying them, but make sure you tie them on with a non-slip loop knot to just provide that more lifelike action.